Train the muscles, not the joints.
Welcome back to Natural Gland Bodybuilding Motion. And today I'm going to talk to you about how I organize my main foundational lift movement and how I organize my workout around that and why. Because some of you guys are asking what order should you train your major movement in, such as a deadlift or a squat. Now, why is a main foundational movement important for natural bodybuilders? Well, I've talked about this a lot of times in the past, but the fact is that if you have a heavy movement that puts a lot of stress on the overall skeletal system and a lot of muscles at once, that gives you that systemic stimulation needed in order to propel your body into an anabolic environment. At least that's been my experience. I've always noticed that after squatting heavy one day, the next day I feel more pumpy and lumpy when I'm training other body parts. I get more blood flow. I experience a certain anabolic effect in the overall body. And I've spent periods of time where I stopped squatting or stopped lifting heavy on the spine because of a lower back injury. And again, this is a long time ago. This is why I know the proper position for my lower back to be in, because I have made that mistake where I had tweaked something doing deadlifts the wrong way. But without deviating from my main message here, what I'm trying to say is that a foundational overall system stimulation can make a big difference in a natural bodybuilder's life. I mean, natural guys usually can't get away with just doing the little pumping movements and building muscle. They need to put on strength in some of the foundational lifts, and then from there they can work strategically with the isolations and get creative with the angles of attack or use higher repetitions and so forth. So a combination of two is always what I advocate, heavyweight and some light weights, and finding that perfect mix for you. But the conundrum here is that a lot of times people are like, well, you know, I want to pre-exhaust some of these body parts first and then get into my major lift. You know, they see all the pro bodybuilders do this. The pro bodybuilders doing leg extensions, leg curls, and maybe doing some leg presses and hack squats and then getting into squats. So that way they don't have to go as heavy. And at the same time, they can ensure that the legs are hitting failure first. And I am on board with that. I'm on board with that. But the only problem is, or maybe there's two problems, but the main problem is that you're going to be so fatigued by the time you get to that weight, you're not going to be able to put as much weight on your system. And if weight matters at all for really systemically stimulating your endocrine system and all of these other systems in your body to create an anabolic effect, you're not going to necessarily be able to handle the same type of poundages because you've enduranced yourself to death from this high volume workout with the quads and so forth. But that's not really the only issue. The other issue is that, and this is the thing for me, one thing I found is that if I had a super difficult movement, such as squats, you know, the movement that took me the most amount of motivation and mental energy to do in a workout, I found that if I left it to the end of the workout, it was almost like this, as they call it, the dagger of Damocles. It's almost like this thing hovering above you, just waiting to kill you. And I just wanted to go into the battle right away as soon as I got to the gym to make sure I got that overall hardest part of my workout out of the way, and then I'd move on to the other exercises or the other body parts or whatever it was I had scheduled. As you guys know, I don't do a lot of high volume stuff. So my main movements before doing squats would probably be shoulders or triceps or even chest and back sometimes, depending on what type of split I'm doing. But I wouldn't usually be doing a lot of leg movements ahead of time before squatting because I don't usually do a high volume one body part type of workout. Like I don't usually do bro splits. Once in a while I may do it, but that's not usually my pattern. So mostly what I do in my workouts is I organize them in a way that helps me be motivated to do what I need to do. And usually getting the hardest exercises out of the way right in the beginning of the workout is usually how I organize my training, because sometimes when you've already worked out and then at the end, if you don't have the energy to do this monstrous exercise or squat heavy or whatever it is that you're supposed to be doing, sometimes it just becomes easy just to walk out of the gym and say, oh, I'm just going to do it tomorrow, right? So me, knowing myself, I usually get the hard stuff out of the way right away. And then from there, I work into progressively easier stuff, right? So I'll do the heavy compounds, stimulate the whole system, put my energy and my effort into that. And then I will start to do the fine tuning, lighter, easier isolation type stuff after that. But you know what? It's up to you. Like whatever way motivates you. I don't really think it's going to be, some sort of supreme detriment. Like if you do squats at the end of your workout or you do squats at the beginning, I don't really think that you're going to be ruining all your gains. And the truth is, with big movements like deadlifts and so forth, there is an argument for you doing a lot of isolation upper back movements first and then moving into the deadlift when the lower back is fresh. And then you can push the lats and the traps into deeper levels of failure while the lower back remains fresh. So if you are doing a bro split type of workout or a 3-day split or whatever, and you're doing multiple sets for one body part, there is definitely an argument for you using that big stimulation movement at the end of your workout. So a good example of this would be you do your lat pull downs, you do your pullovers, you do some chest supported rows, right? So you're conserving the lower back the whole time, maybe even some chins or pull-ups. And then you go into your deadlift workout. And at that point, your lower back is going to be more than able to take the set into a deep enough level of failure to stimulate the system. But at the same time, it's going to push all those other major muscle groups into a deeper level of failure because they're already pre-exhausted. So for bodybuilding reasons, this could be very practical, right? So, and that's what we're talking about now. We're talking about natural bodybuilding. But yeah, long story short, that's really how I organize it. I usually get the hard stuff out of the way right away. That's usually what I like to do. But there is a reason to maybe not do it that way. And yeah, so depending on your preference, depending on your laziness and the amount of motivation and energy you have, will also dictate how you organize this stuff. Mountain. So I hope this helps you out in your training. Thanks a lot for watching. If you need to get a hold of me, just go to naturalgallantbodybuilding.com, and thanks to the page supporters, and take care for now.